we cover a lot of post October 7th, especially like Jewish topics and our Jewish identity. I'm just curious a little about your personal background and connection to your Jewish identity. I read online that you weren't raised connected to your Jewish identity, but embraced it later in life. Could you talk a little bit about that and maybe how it's felt to you post October 7th? Have things changed for you in your relationship to that?
In other words, go ahead and offend all our Orthodox listeners.
Do it, John. We're Orthodox. I can take it.
Hmm.
Don't worry. I have your back.
My parents came during the Depression, so before Hitler. They said they came here because the Depression was worse in Europe, and they had just graduated college. They were looking for economic opportunity here. They barely spoke English. They didn't have much money. They prospered here. My father built a factory that printed patterns on towels, which my mother was the artist for. So that's how we were able to afford a home in the suburbs of Chicago. They raised me in the Congregational church.
Yeah, keep going.
And I didn't much like it. I did what I was told. I was bored. I sang in the choir. They claimed they never hid that I was Jewish from me, but they said I just wasn't paying attention to what they said, which might have been true. But I made some comment one day, and my brother said, my older brother said, "What the fuck you think you are?" I had no idea. And when I confronted my parents, they said, "Well, we just don't believe in religion." And we joined the Congregational church because we were moved to this new country. We're trying to meet people in this new neighborhood. And that's where our friends were. And your friend Johnny Higgins was in the Congregational church. So I joined. My father never went. He thought all religion was baloney. And later, as I got a little more Jewish educated and married a Jewish woman and married into Michael Steinhardt's family, became more conscious of these things. I would ask my father, we just thought it was like pagan rites and never went to Hebrew school. My parents didn't believe in it. When he got Alzheimer's and we around our table were celebrating a Jewish holiday, saying Mao Tzur, suddenly he joined in to our shock. No idea he knew the words to any such song. That's my background. And some people who were raised Jewish said, well, in some ways you're more Jewish than I because you chose it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't go to temple, but I chose to, I discovered over time, I just had better relationships with Jewish people and Jewish women. My serious relationships turned out always to be with Jews, and I married a Jew. So I like Jews, but I don't buy the religious rites, and I bristle at standing up and sitting again in temple.
You still got a Yiddish cup. They say a Yiddish cup, a Yiddish head over here.
And that October 7th didn't do anything to change that in any way?
Can you raise your microphone? I just can't quite hear you.
A little louder. I talk softly. And just October 7th didn't do anything to change that identity for you, or
it made me angry, but no.
Yeah. I've noticed in certain Jews of different backgrounds, there's this strange thing that when you see a rise in anti-Semitism or anti-Israel hostility, there's sort of this choice. If you don't have a strong background connected to it, it's kind of hard to assert that in the face of hostility. And so, I mean, I just wonder, post-October 7th, did it make you, just to reiterate the question, did it make you feel more connected as a Jew, given that people are highlighting a negative spotlight on Israel or anything like that? Did you go to Israel? Did you have a connection to Israel before October 7th or since then?
I mean, some. I've only been there once. I think it was given
maybe it was Jordan.
Us in 1947, and we deserved to keep most of the land, but Israel did some nasty stuff in expanding Israel. So and I'm not well versed on that. And I
Right.
figure there are smarter and more educated Jews to fight that battle. And
Right.
I'm focusing on the battle I lived, which was economic freedom.